storm show. Ay, it's a storm show.
All right, so Storm Chasers, today we have a special guest to the show, a really good friend of mine, Dr. Linda Salvin. This is now her second time being on the show. Renowned psychic, candle magic specialist, radio broadcaster of over 3 decades. I mean, what, yeah. Dr. Linda, what can't you do at this point? You've done pretty much everything. Epidemiologist.
I was an epidemiologist. That's the big word today, as we know, with the pandemic, for epidemics.
Yes.
And I write songs. I just gave up my music career years ago. But I mean, there's a lot I don't do. It's just I love helping people. That's where the passion came from. So I settled with the spiritual work.
Yes.
But yeah, I do a lot. I mean, I'm not dumb, and I can analyze things. The one thing I can't do is deal with Microsoft Windows and technology. That I hate that stuff.
So you're like, I'm not IT, but other than that,
no, I'm not.
Good.
But you know, once you figure out the coding and you really take time to understand all the digital codes, it's easy. It's just, I think I'm so right brain that the left brain goes, what is this? I can't tolerate it. I get very impatient.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So today we're here to really talk about love. A lot of people are looking for love. People are super lonely in the pandemic, going through depression. I mean, I even had somebody reach out that wanted to know how to do a love spell. And so,
all right, let's start with the love spell.
Let's get right into it. What is a love spell, and should people be doing it?
Wow. Well, you did mention I do candle magic. And I was introduced to candle magic in 1999 because of a love interest story. It's interesting you'd bring that up. I had tried pagan and Wicca and the different candle formulas to try to make this guy I was seeing emote, express his feelings a little more, right? Because Scorpios aren't good at that. Or most men aren't. So one of my clients who sold sage at a store way downtown LA said, go to see this guy, Michael. I said, okay. So I call him up. I said, do you have this kind of candle? He said, yeah, come on down. I drove 40 minutes to this man's store. Turns out he's a Sanarian priest, which I knew nothing about other than I was scared of the word because that's how I was trained to fear it. Long story short, he gave me some oils and some technique on how to change this guy I was dating and open him up. I said, nothing else has ever worked. All right, let's try this. Well, it worked. And Storm, this guy started emoting so much I didn't know how to shut him up because I didn't want to hear some of what I heard. But, you know, be careful what you ask for. But I called this guy, Michael, back, and I said, this stuff works. He goes, of course it works. Well, I've never seen or experienced anybody's work that worked. So I went back down there. Long story short, he said, I'm going to train you. I said, why? He goes, well, you're in radio and you help a lot of people. I thought, okay. So once I understood the format and the theory and got out of the fear, I understood how I can help people make money, remove blocks, obstacles, negativity, curses, bad luck, win lawsuits, bring in a soulmate, manipulate a soulmate, get rid of the soulmate, get rid of the third person, remove curses, improve health. I mean, I've been doing it now since 1999. So we're looking at, what, 24 years.
Wow.
Okay. I didn't believe in it until it happened. Just like I didn't believe in psychics until I became psychic. Okay. I didn't believe I could heal or people could heal until I became the healer. I certainly didn't think you could talk to people who are dead until I became the medium. So I've done all of that through the 3 decades. A lot of people call because I'm just going to throw out names that mean nothing to anybody, but just as samples.
Okay.
So the girl named Diane likes a guy named Bob. Bob's living or married to Amy, but Diane wants him. No, I will not sell Diane the candles to manipulate Bob because I will not break up a relationship. But if Bob came to me, or even Amy came to me and said, I want out of this relationship because I just met someone else, then I'd say, okay. A lot of people don't believe or follow the spiritual law. And if they don't, it can come back and bite you in the butt. It really can. So I have candles called Soulmate Power, which can bring in new people for love, friendships, partnerships, marriage, depending on where the people are in their life. Through the years, I had clients who would burn maybe 8 to 10 sets. It doesn't happen overnight, but they found their mate. They got married. I even conducted the wedding on one of them because I'm a minister, you know, and now they've got houses and kids. And I've watched it through the years. It's wonderful. But a lot of people will say, oh, I just want to put a spell on this guy or this girl, or I want him to do this or that. Unless you really understand it, you can mess with someone's life. You can manipulate them. Yes, you can put somebody under a spell, and they won't know it unless they have been made aware of it. But even though they may have even heard about it, it's so subtle, you can't trace it. Sometimes the behavior, the sexual feelings, the words coming out of one's mouth might be a little more sensitive, emotive, passionate when they're normally not like that, but that's the spell a lot of the time.
Okay.
The actual ritual that I do spiritual work. I don't do spell work. And a lot of people call, I just want a candle to put a spell. Well, I disappoint them because that's not what I do. I was trained by a Santerian. I used to study Kabbalah with a very famous rabbi who's now deceased. And I took Kabbalah and I mixed it with the Santeria, took away the occult, and I made wicks of wisdom. Because it's wicks, in Kabbalah, the candle represents the soul of man. The wick, which you light, we light it, it becomes the flame, which is fire, which is light, which is God. So here's the soul of man, God, and then we have petitions, which I don't discuss in shows, but I tell people what to write on these pieces of paper that get burned in the flame with a formula for essential oils. I have 22 formulas for love, money, moving, health, career, whatever. Right. It's like banana bread, chocolate chip cookies, and
it's like a recipe. It's like a recipe to a cake.
Exactly.
And just so people don't get lost, now Kabbalah is a form of Judaism, correct?
Yes, it is. It's ancient Judaism. It's the ancient theory behind the Torah. It's the ancient philosophy before the Jewish religion. So it's very mystical. And they used to say, especially women, should be at least 40 years of age to start reading it.
Wow.
It's so intense. I probably was in my 40s when I dabbled in it. I got more intense in my 50s. There's so much I will never know. And it does bring up tears. The spiritual connection is very deep. The words come from, it's like who wrote the Bible? Who wrote the Torah? Nobody knows. We weren't here. We weren't there.
Right.
But back to the candle magic. There's a portion in the Kabbalah, and I have it written down in another room, that one day I was in class in the morning and we were talking about candles and Chakma, which is life, and the candles being the soul of God and man. I said, Rabbi, because he knew about my TV infomercial with Kris Jenner, which is how you found me months ago.
Yes.
And he said, Linda, it came from somewhere, because I was shocked. Oh my God, they got candles and magic. I didn't make it up. It's in the Kabbalah. You know? But just the way he said, yeah, I came from somewhere. So ritual is very different than spell. Spell is short term. Unless a spell is being used to bind. So to bind someone, a lot of the times, it's not just playing with oils and a candle. There's different kinds of candles, which are called image candles. One's of a naked man and one's of naked women. So you can put two men, two women, a man and a woman together, whatever you're into. And you wrap it in a certain color yarn, and then you got to do an anointing, but you're binding. So say you've got a girl that's so drawn to you, Storm, which I'm sure you've got plenty from your viewership.
Oh, Lord.
They're probably binding you, dude. Okay, so someone's trying to make you theirs. And you may not feel like communicating with anybody else or being passionate with anybody but so-and-so. Or you may find your calling more and more. And all of a sudden you're like, but I don't really feel it. It's just I'm doing it. And you're trying to figure out, usually once you see the change and you become aware, then you can ask someone like me, is there a spell on me? And a lot of times I'll say no. And other times I can see it and trace it and help you release it.
Definitely. I mean, I even told you, I felt something that wasn't of myself normally. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you explained it deeply, like, okay, this is what it is. This is what it could be. And I look at it this way, right? If somebody's meant for you, they're going to be for you. I don't think you have to take over them, you know?
You don't, except if you back up, like Stephen and Stephanie, this wonderful couple here in California, they were both looking. Stephanie was a customer. She's even in the infomercial. You can go back and watch it. She was going after this one guy, but then she kept doing candles and met Stephen, and I performed the wedding in 08, I believe, or 07. And on the petition, she put down all the characteristics she wanted in a guy. And then after she got married, she goes, I forgot something. I said, what? You got everything. He's got money, he was in the service, he bought her a 5-bedroom home, he plays, I mean, he was just great. Well, he didn't dance, and she loves to dance. So I said, well, you know, teach him how to dance or just go dance with someone else, but you got everything else. So yes, you get specific with your needs, but it didn't manipulate anyone. It was a prayer to please bring my perfect soulmate. That's different than targeting Joe Blow or Amy's boyfriend, Bob. Come to me, you're only in love with me, right?
Yeah, no, I
divorces. Same thing with divorces. I will not sell people the divorce separation sets, which is 18 candles. If they're trying to break up the man or woman they're having the affair with, they're in the marriage, but the one over here wants them, I will not sell them. I always have to ask, what do you want to do the work on? Because I don't want it coming back on me, and I don't want to sell something that's so powerful to somebody to mess up someone else's life or their own. I have my boundaries. But when I see the goodness, like with you, I'll play with you. I'll give you, no, you need to do this right now. Let's do money and success. Let's boost your career on YouTube, which we did, you know, because when you came to me, it was right at lockdown. It was like, oh, I said, no, watch what happens. A year later, look at what's happened. You know, it's great.
That is very true.
You know, I'm watching you. But when somebody's going after the fish in the sea, that's really not their fish, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what you do, I've been cursed. I've had black magic done. I've been put in the gin jars, you know. There's so much jealousy. But I don't work with the black light. I don't work with the black magic. I do very light spiritual work, but it's enough that you see change or win lawsuits or heal. I had an earache and a headache that wouldn't go away. I thought I had to go to the doctor. I did a study of health and wellness. I haven't hurt in 3 months because it works. Yeah, it works. When I'm slower in business, I'll do a money and success like you. When you start doing the money and success, you see a peak in your productivity or your communications. You see the change.
Oh, yeah. And money will come out of nowhere just randomly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's subtle, but it's powerful, and it smells beautiful. But people don't understand there's oils, herbs, powders, parchment paper. It takes 3 to 7 days per candle times 3. I mean, it's a lot of time invested. But on the other side of it, there's results.
Absolutely. Which, if you think about it in life, anything you want to come to light, you have to put work into it. Like, it's nothing just... I mean, if nothing just shows up, like it doesn't.
A lot of people think, well, I have a business. All right, do you have an LLC? Do you have an S Corp? Have you registered with the government so that you get your tax forms? What about your tax ID number? Well, what do you mean? I said, well, how do you have a business? Well, I've got this idea. I said, no. You got to start with the name. You got to register your name. You got to go to the state of whatever you're in and get your tax ID. Then you got to go to the federal government and get a federal ID. Well, what do you mean?
This is how you pay taxes.
Business and legalities of doing a business, right? Just to get the paperwork done.
Yes.
It's a lot of work, yes.
But you know what it is, Linda? I'm going to say this. I feel a lot of people are just lazy. They don't really want it. They just want to give it to them. Because I will get the emails of, oh my God, I want a YouTube channel and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, okay, well, where's your channel? Oh, I haven't made it yet.
Right. Well, they talk, they dream. I talked to somebody yesterday that is in their head a lot. So I said, stop the future tripping. Let's get you out of your thought process, because it's called stinking thinking. We can all think.
Yes.
And we can all space out on TV and streaming, and I space out on repeats of Chicago Fire. That's my, like, just put it on. It's white noise. I've seen it 1,000 times. I love Taylor Kinney. I'm fine. I don't need to watch all these 1,000 streams. But when it's time to work, I work. It's like you work. You're a workhorse. You're smart. You're educated. You didn't just fall off a cabbage truck and decide to do a show. People don't understand production, editing, content, producing, lighting. They know nothing. They think, oh, I'm going to do a show. So I said to somebody, well, don't, like, I'm going to say it, don't give the microphone a blowjob. You got to know how to stand certain distance away from the mic, or the lighting has to be right. The lighting with me today is not right, but I'm not set up like you are. But every single item has to be thought through. And a lot of the times you're counseling people or giving them insight, and I'll say something and it's like, what? Really? No. Yeah, well, no, I can't wait 5 years. Well, you may have to take 6 or 7 till you get this. Or if I tell someone I don't see their soulmate on the horizon in the next 3 months, well, I got to get married. I said, well, it's not up to you.
It's not up to you. And if you force it, you're going to be divorced. So
exactly. That's another thing. People, like we were talking, both of us. I mean, we all have young love when we're in our teens and 20s. We think that's all there is. Yeah. And this is it. But when you break up, your heart is ripped. And why is he with her and she's with him? And oh my God, and I got left behind. And what about me? Then you mature, or then you find your path. And then you start to see, God, if I was still with them, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
So spiritually, it all works as to why, and the pain and the lessons. But if you'd stayed with so-and-so when you were in your 20s, early 20s, you would not be where you are today. No. I would not be where I am today if I married the one I thought I would.
No.
You know, I don't know.
If I had got married at 22, I would not be in Atlanta today pursuing my dreams. I would.
No, you would not. No, you would not.
There's no way.
And I probably wouldn't have been in a plane crash, hit by a fire truck, total a car, become a psychic, been on radio for 18 years. See, because I'm not here to hurt.
Yes.
I'm here to guide, tell the truth, and Storm, you know as well as I do, there are so many charlatans and fake psychics that will tell you what you want to hear to keep coming back.
Yes.
I got a girl on Instagram telling me she had 5 tarot readings on TikTok. I said, what? She goes, well, they all said the same thing. I said, well, they're not real readings. Well, how do you know? I said, because it doesn't work that way. And TikTok is now everybody's a reader. It doesn't work that way. So everybody's getting false hope.
Yes.
A 70... Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I interviewed a Salvin priest yesterday.
Okay.
And he can't stand those people on TikTok either. He's like,
they're ruining the true workers that know the spiritual world. A Salvin priest, just like who trained me in candle magic, they have to go through initiations. They go through the orishas. They wanted me to do it. I don't. It's not my religion, but I took what I needed to incorporate. So yes, who he is sees what I do, that the real spiritual workers, as usual, are being buried and harmed by the wannabes, could-bes, the charlatans, and the mass that think they really know, when very few of us are really true.
That is true. And the people with evil intentions. Well,
that too. And that's another thing you got to watch. That's where I mentioned curses earlier. the gin, which you got the book that Rosemary wrote, or the black magic, I have the formulas to really screw someone up. I don't sell them anymore. I don't want the karma. But my job is of light and God. People call, well, you're a psychic. I said, yeah. Well, how do I know you work with God? I said, because I had 3 near-death experiences. It's all about God. Well, how do I know? My priest said, don't go to psychics. I said, then why did God give me the gift?
Right. I mean, but bottom line, why did God give you the gift? Why are there prophets in the church?
Of course. They're everywhere.
There are people in the church that will lay hands on you, which is probably a curse they're putting on you, and say, oh, this is such and such is going to happen. You got Reverend Peter Popoff, who sells spring water.
He's even now touching your body, tuning your body, making this heart new. Glory to God, he's bringing her blood pressure down right now. $1,222 check.
Countless others have been healed.
Yeah,
That makes sure.
Once I paid or sent in an alert, I got a little plastic thing of water. It's like it didn't change my life. I finally got off the mailing list. But people want hope. People want to believe in something. So I teach people to just trust a butterfly. I've done the poem on your show. I can do it again if you want. And the bottom line is, the kid asks, if God's real, and you hear a meadowlark sing and the stars shining and a baby's born and the thunders across the sky. He doesn't get the message. And he says, well, touch me. Show me you're real. Whereupon God reaches down and touches the child, and the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowingly. It's right there. Yeah. All the truth is right here. If we watch the universal messages, as much pain as we are in, Storm, nobody is pain free. Our life mission, I believe, is learning how to cope with our pain inside. There's moments of bliss and joy, but the struggle and the growth is learning how to integrate the mind, body, spirit to become as comfortable in the body as we are. I'm not thin enough. I'm not blonde. I don't have big enough tits. Guys think they don't have enough big junk. Everybody's got something.
I mean, I don't have that problem, ladies. No, you got your phone, Linda. But I got a question for you, though.
I will marry one that doesn't have that. Go ahead.
I want to get your perspective on something, because this is one part of life where people really don't understand, right? Where are people before they are born? I've always wondered this, before you're conceived, where is the spirit?
We're in the other world. We're in the spiritual world. Now, let me back up. I channeled for 22 years. I used to talk to dead people. Okay. In 1996, I had 100 tumors removed from my hips and thighs. I opened up as a medium, and after 18 years, back in 2018, I said, no more. No more. I'll get the book out eventually, but I've got tons of testimonials. Our souls, the soul in Storm, the soul in me, the soul in everybody watching, enters the body upon the birth. The moment you're born, the soul comes in from the dimension we cannot see. Okay. So we're in 3 dimensions. But the 4th and 5th, if heaven were so far away, how could I hear people dictate suicide notes or love stories or spaghetti sauce recipes? I've had it all through channeling, right?
Right.
Because Earth is in 3 dimensions. People see in 3 dimensions, but a psychic can hear the 4th and 5th. Like when I'm reading, I get right to the core quickly because I've got such an intense diagnostic ability that it freaks people out because I get right to it and it upsets people, but it's how I am. The soul, okay, you were born what year?
1993.
Okay. But in 1992, and maybe even, you might have been here in 1967. We don't know. You might have been here during World War II. You might have been here when slavery was just starting 400 years ago. We don't know how many times you've reincarnated. But in this incarnation, 27 years ago, 28 years ago, wherever you are, you chose your mother and father in this lifetime to learn lessons in your life going forward. You'll live into your 80s, 90s. It's average today. So the next 50 years, you're going to be going, did you just get chills? You're going to learn a lot and go up and down and love and hate and confuse and more technology. It's going to be your life. Okay. My soul, I chose my parents, and I used to say, why? For what?
That's what I'm thinking, like, why? Why not you?
Oh my God, they don't even understand me, or why are they hitting me, or why are they yelling, or why are they this? And one time my mom said, what family are you from? And I was crying over my aunt's death because everybody was so stoic and so hardened from 3 suicides. People weren't emotional. I was emotional. You had your lessons. I also know I knew my dad in the Civil War. And one time I said, I think our spirits go back to the Civil War. He doesn't get what I do. But he said, well, maybe that's why I've always had an interest in the Civil War. So you and your mom may have been boyfriend, girlfriend, son, mother, father, daughter. Your dad, you could have, we've all been boys, we've all been girls. We've all been both sexes, gender. But you may have a really good relationship with your dad. You may clash with your dad. You may have been a girl in a past life, or he was a mother in a past life. We all reincarnate, but the soul has memory. There's something with you that I connected to the very first time you reached out 1.5 years ago. And I don't connect with everybody, you know that. But when you know there's a camaraderie or a connection, you follow it. And I remember, actually, I said, yeah, call me back, let me know how you're doing. 3 months went by before I found you. I said, what are you doing? I found out about the show and everything. Because I never heard from you, because I don't normally connect, but I knew something about you. And yes, it's like a mentorship. It could have been, maybe I knew you 700 years ago somewhere in Italy or Africa or China. Who knows? But the soul has memory. And that's the same thing in love life.
Okay. We
come into this lifetime in the body. The day the soul leaves is the last breath. Whether it's an accident, a disease, slow death, murder, combat, however we take that last breath, the soul returns to the other side, that other dimension. It could stay out there for 3 hours and come back. It could stay out there for 30 years and come back. There's agreements on the other side where the soul is like in a school, and it learns and evolves beyond what was learned in the life of school of life. And then we go up again and ascend. Then there's the guardian angels and the spirit guides, where you kind of choose, oh, I want to take care of Storm. You may have spirit guides or guardian angels from 16 generations ago, from the year 1111. Okay, wow. AD. You don't know, but there's relatives and spirits that adopt us. There could be an aunt you lost when you were 12 who is your guardian angel. It could be somebody from school you never knew that took over, because from there they pick us, they choose, and then we have these angels. It's the same thing with love. So we're talking about the soul. So the soul moves on. You cannot cremate a soul, but you can bury a body. Soul doesn't cremate, but you can cremate the body, right? You've got the ashes. You can't cremate a soul. You can't see it. You talk to a neurologist, you talk to a psychiatrist, you talk to a brain surgeon. They're probably going to say, no, that's not how the soul works as part of the brain. Well, I disagree. There is a soul. We have something that turns us on with the music and feeling of other people. Definitely. A soulmate. We come across different soulmates at different points in our life. The goals define the twin. There's mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of being. Most people, we talked about this, Storm, end up in a quick relationship because they're desperate to be loved. So maybe mental and emotional is there, but sexual and spiritual is not. Or spiritual and physical is, but mental and sexual is not. Something's missing, but they do it anyway. Then they're miserable. Then they won't even meet at the same dinner table. Then they won't sleep together. It goes on, and then they finally either get divorced or just surrender to, wow, I screwed up, right? That's one situation. The karmic relationships that bring in the children, most will turn into a very decent marriage if they learn to communicate. what brought these people together was a soul recognition, whether it was a blind date on campus, on a show, at a convention, at school, well, however you meet, not necessarily on Tinder, but
yeah, that's something else. Right.
The real soulmates. No, I gotta break it up. But you'll recognize the eyes, something in the voice, something deep inside just goes zzz, like you put your finger in a light socket and you get shot. You will know it's different than 100 people you line up and it's like, they don't turn me on, right? You can't be turned on by everybody. Well, maybe when you're 15, everybody looks good, but we're hormonal. But as an adult, we're looking for love and we get close. Oh, this is it. This is it. Every girl thinks this is my husband. Every guy thinks, is this the one? Because we're programmed to look for our soulmate. We're looking for our twin, which is the other half of us that's split on the other side. So 28 years ago, or maybe 35 years ago, you're out there flying around waiting for the right family. Some female spirit, or the other spirit, if you were a girl last time, whatever it is that is supposed to be for you in this lifetime, the woman, whatever body she took over, came in knowing that at the right point in time, let's say, I don't know exactly when you're going to meet her, but I'm assuming you're a few years away. So let's just throw out when you're 33. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter, but I'm using that as an example.
Okay.
She's in preparation. She's going through heartache and tripping over the guys and trying to find herself. But by the time she sees you, or the time you see her, you will have overcome so many of the negatives or doubts or lessons. You'll be ready to open up a friendship or maybe trust or peel the layers off the onion or the artichoke to get to the heart. We try, but then we get somewhere and it's like, doesn't feel right. No, there's a negative and we're not sure. The yeah buts, you got to listen to them because when you keep going past them, you'll finally get to the blessing. You will. I was proposed to 3 weeks ago on the 17th.
And you said it didn't feel right.
Didn't feel right. I knew the guy in graduate school, 75 to 77. We saw each other in 78. We stayed in touch in 02. He popped back up last year. We've been emailing. There's an intellectual, funny, it's wonderful. He's a great guy. But when he asked marriage, I felt like a vault door or a piece of granite just blocked my moment. It didn't connect. I don't want to say what state he's in, but he's not California. I thought, fly back, let's go see him, revisit. But then I started remembering and feeling, and it felt like something I couldn't live without, of course.
Right.
But I can't it's not that my life's like anybody else's, like I'm on top of the world and so busy. But he said, when are you going to give up time in your busy life to come marry me? This is a man that, going back to the candles, never emoted, never expressed feeling. So I was dumbfounded. Okay. But I wrote him a letter, nice, explaining where I am, how I feel, how honored, and yeah, but thank you. But let's leave the door open in case there's a reunion with schoolers. I kept it nice. Have not heard from him. He never responded. And that's okay. But I had to speak for me. Yes, I want to be married. But I'm not so desperate. I'm going to just go because it's a proposal.
And I'm glad you said that. Just because it's presented to you doesn't mean you need. It could be a test. You don't.
Yes.
You don't need to do it. Yeah.
No, you're right. But the love candles. Like if I really thought this guy was it and we just needed to work on it, I would probably do some good luck power and soulmate power to bump it up and make us a little more cozy, romantic, and communicative. It's not worth it because it's not there for me, right? Gotcha. But if it's a situation that I feel like, oh, this is worth tampering with just to turn the heat up, you bet I'll do it because it works if it's right.
If it's right. I'm glad you spoke on it too, because for some reason with me, everybody wants to see me with somebody. Everybody is so concerned with, oh my God, who are you dating? But there has to be something to it because nobody catches my eye. Like I'm just not.
You're not there yet.
I'm just not there.
It's just like I tell people, he's not here yet. I don't see him yet. You will have the ring, you will have the marriage, you will have the beamer, whatever you want. You'll have that later, but not yet. Or I'll say you haven't met him yet. Yeah, but what about this one? Is he coming back from the past? No, it's the past. It didn't work. It's not going to work again. Well, how do you know? I'm like, how do I know? I can tell what's going on. But people don't want to hear the truth. They want the fairy tale. He's coming back. He's going to call. Yesterday, guy must be in his 70s, late 60s. I don't know. His name's Joey. I don't even know where he lives. He divorced some lady 3-4 years ago. She's already living with someone else, and he's waiting for her to call him.
No, it's over.
I said, did so-and-so tell you he's going to come back? Yes, because this other psychic that I know who's never had anything happen, because I have a lot of her clients, and I get them on the right road when they've been hurt with false hope. I said, I can't help you. I said, if she told you she's going to, but you have to look at the fact it hasn't happened in 3 years. Well, how do you know it won't? I said, then I can't help you. You just have to wait. So the poor guy's going to wait. Okay. Wait for what?
For nothing, and then he's going to be sad, or he's going to call you a fraud. It's just, it's so silly.
I waited. Somebody said he was going to come back. We're going to get married after college. I waited. Then I found out he was married, but he never told me. But I waited. We all go through the hope. This is it. How can you not love me, need me, want me, desire me? What's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? People, the girls especially, well, why doesn't he want me? What did I do? Why is he with her? It's the soul again. There's a connection. Somebody's feeling it or not feeling it. My job is to soften the wording as to why he may not be into her because he didn't feel it or connect, or she was too needy or desperate or whiny or not mature or standing up on her own, whatever. Maybe she didn't look like his mother. I don't know. Right? Or he didn't like her in bed, or he didn't like the cooking. There's some reason a guy says no, and there's some reason girls say no. Right?
True. Very true.
But then there's those that have been rejected that need to know what's wrong with them. I said, it's not you. But they can't hear their own responsibility. It's about them, him, her. I get the gay guys, the lesbians. I don't care what gender, what sexuality preference you have. We all have feelings. We still feel the connection.
So let me ask you this while we're talking about the spirit before we get into astrology. Are people born gay?
I'm going to say yes. I think a lot of people are, more than making a conscious decision. And I'll tell you why I think that. I didn't understand that it even existed when I was a kid. Yeah, I had a crush on a camp counselor. She was real butchy, but I couldn't understand why was I attracted. I learned later, it could have been a past life soul connection. Maybe there's a part of me that's just attracted to the masculine female because there was something that stimulated, but it doesn't mean I want to go sleep with them. Okay, I don't want to marry somebody, but I don't mind who's who. Then I worked in a gay bar in the 70s when all that was happening, before your time. And I saw the queens and all the crazy people and the drug scene and the disco scene, and I learned. But the inner self, I think, knows from a young age. Look at Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner. He knew even when he was an athlete, he was a female gender. One of my best friends, Bruce, who's deceased from a heart attack. One night we're sitting in his car in a great restaurant, Italian restaurant. He goes, I'm really a girl. I said, what? So he wanted to go to Thailand or here in Beverly Hills to have the sex change. And we talked about what he thought, and it all made sense. Then books started coming out. He believes he was a male born with a female spirit. And he knew I was on radio. So of course he opened up. And he had the change, and just before the actual final change, he died of a heart attack because they didn't find the atherosclerosis in his veins. So he died of a heart attack. She died, Catherine. She ended up as Catherine. But, You know if you're attracted to men. You know if you're attracted to women. There's Storm. I can't even tell you because I'm not of your generation. But there's 150 sexual categories now, rather than just gay, straight, and bi. That's all I know.
You have straight, bisexual, gay, transgender, asexual, intersex, allied, pansexual, sapiosexual, and demisexual.
One from another. I know. I understand the gay, the lesbian, the trans, and I know a few people who are trans. I get it, and I understand because they're trying to fit the soul to the body.
Okay.
Which is where the shrinks don't always understand the metaphysics, and I believe most of the people, Chad Bono, she knew she was a male. She was one of the first public celebrities to trans, right? And we watched her, okay, from Cher. And she's happy. He's happy.
As a he, absolutely. So basically, it's a spiritual thing.
It's more emotional and spiritual from the soul. I know a girl like Gigi, Fifi, whatever, who is trans and has a whole other name and dresses with a shirt and tie and got the beard because of the hormones and changed his name in the courts. And I've never seen this person happier from the years I've known this. And he's with the same girl he was with 25 years ago because the love between them never changed. The partner accepted the transition because they are still in love.
Gotcha.
Love has no color. Love has no race. Love has no body. Like the soul, it's like our magnet, our little compass point. Think about it. It's like we're like this. Oh, there's one. Oh, we were together for 4 years. I know he loved me, but he didn't marry you. Well, I've got his kids. How can he not love me? He's the father, not your husband. Maybe not your boyfriend. He may be a deadbeat dad and maybe not even be a daddy, but he fathered these kids. You're the mother. They chose this lesson.
Okay. They chose this life. So that's even when we have one night stands that result in pregnancy.
Absolutely. People get pregnant on one night stands. They don't believe it. And a one night stand can be painful and exhilarating, and you think you're on top of the world and orgasms are everywhere and everybody's talking about their life and you never see them again. And then you feel like, oh my God, that crash.
Yeah.
You go do it again, or you get drunk, or you get loaded, or whatever. Or you stop and you just wait it out until you meet the right person that you can really talk to, become friends with. Do they own a cat? What's their relationship with their parents? Where are they from? What kind of school did you go to? What kind of work do you want to do? Are you creative? Do you like to cook? People don't even know if you like blue or pink.
I mean, people don't ask good questions at all. I mean,
let's get down and do it.
Yeah, and it's just like, do you even know his middle name? Like,
no. But I'm in love. I love him. I'm so in love. I said, no, you're not. You slept with him 3 times and the hormone kicked in. Boom. You don't even know him. I said, do you think he went to blah, blah? I don't know. Really? That's how well you know the man. I said, you're not paying bills, doing his laundry, cleaning up the bathroom, watching him in a restaurant. No. Well, you slept with him. Yeah, but I'm in love. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
It's infatuation. It's sexual hormones. But love is different. Just like Storm, we could have sex with spirits. Did you know that?
Let's talk about that because we sure can.
Being spiritual is different than, there's something called an incubus and there's something called a succubus.
Yes.
The incubus is the male spirit that will have sex with us when we're sleeping. The female spirit is called the succubus. So it's usually the female spirit having sex with the male and vice versa. But I don't know if they're gay or straight or genders. I don't know anymore. All I know is that there's a female and a male spirit, and they're the incubus and succubus. The succubus, I guess, sucks dick. But
just saying.
Could do boobs, maybe toes. I don't know. But that's what they're called. And a lot of times in our sleep, we astral project. Our souls always leave. We go travel. We go see the guy, the girl, your family. You might be in Japan. You might be in Antarctica, but you travel. And then I'm sure you've had this, and your listeners have, when you're asleep and all of a sudden you're like shaking and you're vibrating and it's weird and you don't know what's going on. It's your soul reentry coming back into your body, and it's like you wake up. Then there's this thing called witches riding, where you feel like you're being choked and there's something or someone on you, which often is the incubus or the succubus, and it's literally on you. It's called witches riding, and you startle because you can't talk and you want to scream and you think you're dreaming, screaming. All of that stuff's really happening spiritually. This isn't to scare anybody. It's not an everyday occurrence, but there are some that attract it. There are some that bring it in. There's some that train themselves to get it. I had one girl that was so addicted to the incubus, she thought she was in love with them. And I'm like, I took it. Yeah, it's all out there. But
you know what though, and I try to tell people I feel like I had an experience like that, and people say you're crazy, you were just drunk, and I'm like, I wasn't drunk. I ended up renting an apartment that used to be a mental hospital in the 30s.
Wow, that must have been haunted.
Right. But my friend that I rented it from was like, "Oh, it's haunted, just so you know," and I'm like, "No, it's not." And I had that experience where I couldn't get up. And I wasn't asleep, but something got on top of me. Yeah,
the ghost or the incubus, and it's the presence. A ghost is a soul that hasn't gone to the other side, that stays here for whatever reason, for completion, or sometimes a medium has to talk to it to release it because of guilt that it has, or like the home. Maybe it didn't want to leave the home. It had an emotional connection to that place. But then the prey, which is us, the body, they'll come and attach to us and suck our energy. And you can be tired and drained and not even know why. Or there's times you have such a great spiritual, sexual thing. You wake up the next day, you don't remember, but man, you are feeling good and happy and joyous, right? Because you had a good thing. Just like they say, if you dream of a lot of people in your dreams, you're going to have a better day than if you had a weird dream. There's a dream yesterday. A girl called. We're talking about drugs. I'm trying to help her get clean. And I said, you can't do this if you're still smoking dope and all the THC. She goes, well, I have to ask you something. I said, what's that? She goes, I dream about snakes. I said, really? You're in the snake pit? She goes, well, what does it mean? I said, well, you're not really healthy. We were just talking about drugs and poor nutrition. So I Googled snakes and dreams, and it talked about negativity, toxicity, low life, no self-worth, no self-esteem. So she's dreaming snakes and brings it up just after I said, you got to get off the pot, you got to change your protein intake, you got to change your diet and put your life together. And then she brought up the snakes, and it all tied together. The subconscious or the spirit knows what we need.
She's living a low vibrational life. Like
she's hurting. It's self-destructive. So she keeps seeing snakes. I said, yeah, you're in the snake pit. And I read the definition of snakes in a dream, and it was all negative. So the light bulb went on. People who come to me think I'm going to say, you're going to live happily ever after, and here's the guy, here's the ring with 5 carats, and here's a Mercedes. It doesn't work that way. Some people it does, but most of the time no. But she heard it. She was stunned. I said, just do the work. If you want to call me back, I'll be happy to help you. She wants to be a famous actress. I said, you're not going to be Meryl Streep. You're not going to be Jennifer Aniston. It's not going to happen.
Oh, man. Sometimes it's hard to shatter someone's dreams.
Well, they can act, and I'm sure she'll get jobs. Storm, when you first started running my candle commercial on the Wicks of Wisdom, I love helping people. And anybody who's listening to the show here gets 10% off the Wicks of Wisdom, whether you need love or money, removing negativity, winning lawsuits, bringing in peace and harmony, health. It's all on the website at lindasalvin.com, and Storm's done many. But some people got angry because one girl in New York said, I didn't get a show like the Kardashians. One set, right? Well, I said, it doesn't work that way. You don't just do 3 candles and you're offered a show. Well, why not?
Well, it's because they don't know who you are. Ma'am, you haven't done the work. Ma'am, who says this is even meant for you? You're trying to live somebody else's life. You can't say, I want to be a Kardashian. You're not them. Oh my God, they don't even look like themselves, for God's sakes, and you're trying to be them.
Well, look at all the plastic surgery. But anyway, that's a whole nother family in and of itself. And of course, Caitlin wants to run for governor of California now. I don't know if that's going to go through. I don't think so. That's my prediction.
I would hope not, because yeah, no. I had another question for you too.
Sure.
I don't want to. Oh yes. Are aliens real?
Yes. I've never met an alien. I've never been abducted. I do know people who have claims to have been abducted. But overall, with all of the photos and shows, and especially in the digital age, of people like George Murray on radio for 25 years talking about it, Art Bell, even before George, those are for people who know what radio is. That isn't just pop music.
Yes.
It's been going on forever. And I just watched a documentary on, I don't know if it was Facebook or YouTube, and it goes back to ancient drawings in Egypt that probably the pyramids and some of the hieroglyphics were all created by aliens that had come to the planet and built the pyramids or left the hieroglyphics, because some of them are so old you can't trace it, but some of the designs show the spaceship or a form of spaceship or the body of what we think of as an alien. It's already carved in stone.
Yes.
We are not alone. Does it mean a little spaceship's going to hover in the state of Georgia tonight over your house and say, hey, we're coming to get you? No, it doesn't work that way.
Probably not.
They're not
Probably
going to let go of a little ladder and come taking you away. But Roswell, there's too much out there not to believe that we are the only ones in the universe. I believe it's real, and I believe we're coming into a time where it's finally going to be admitted.
Yes.
I believe John F. Kennedy was part of his assassination was because he was about to talk about the alien existence. They wanted to shut him up, besides what was going on with the Cubans and the missiles. And I mean, that's a whole nother show of conspiracies with that family. But he knew.
He knew. They knew for sure. And I'm glad
they all know.
But I want to ask you this too, right? Because now we have not Elon Musk, but the guy over Amazon, Jeff Bezos, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to go to space, and they're trying to make space travel a thing. So what's your opinion on regular people going to space? Is that possible? Did we ever land on the moon? I'm just like, I feel like...
Yeah, well, there's that theory that the moon landing was a Hollywood stage performance. I've read that. That's not true.
Okay.
I don't believe that the astronauts of 1969, when I was 15 and we're watching this thing and going back and forth to Cape Canaveral in Houston, I do not believe that was fake. The joke was online the other day of Bezos or even Musk going out to space because he wants to buy it. He wants to buy space. That's next. He's just going to buy space. It's like, where do we start? Where do we end this? Like, where does the universe start? We'll never know because you can't find the end of space. But Bezos going to buy it. I believe, yes, as technology evolves, we did go to the moon. We had Sputniks from Russia back in the 50s and 60s circulating the Earth. We've had people that went up as astronauts to circulate the Earth, and they went to the moon. Then we sent this explorer to Mars. It took how many years just to get there? Now it's taking pictures, and it sees caves and some water. It's the evolution of our technology that gets us out there. But talk about the soul again.
Yes.
Why do people like Musk? I mean, what's his name?
Bezos. Yeah.
Bezos and Musk. Where did these guys come from? Why them? These two geniuses that are billionaires. Are they really from Earth? Did they just come up with this? Or are they aliens that have seen other cultures that have brought it to Earth to have us expand? Right?
Maybe.
It's like Stephen King I've always wondered, where does he get all these science fiction, bizarre stories, unless he lived in another culture, time, and brought it to life? I think we all relive something to present, okay? I think it's part of the soul evolution from whatever planet or generation we came from. Yes, we're going to go into space. Yes, it's kind of like Space Mountain at Disneyland that, you know, Disney had an idea and created Fantasyland and Adventureland, and we're going to space. Does it mean we're going to have like the Jetsons thing? The Jetsons were big with the Flintstones when I was a kid, before your time.
Oh, I've watched the Jetsons.
But it's so futuristic. How did they know 40 years ago almost everything we have now? Because back then they had a computer. We didn't have a computer. They had flying cars, which we're getting to, or self-driving, right?
They did.
Or, I mean, there's so many parallels. Who knew that to write a script like that on a cartoon?
Do you ever think we're going to get to a point where, like, all the religions are gone and it's just kind of like a one religion, like one...
Wait, have peace?
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you why. I have a PhD in metaphysics. I got that over 20 years after I got a master's degree, okay? Part of the degree studies was on the Bible, because metaphysics is a combination of spirituality and psychology, which is why I can zoom into a person and rip them apart and put them together. One of the books, I can't remember, talked about the 3,200 plus religions on the planet. It's over 3,200. We only hear about a dozen, right? But when you take away all of the rules and laws and scripture and the this and the that, I'm not real big on the reborn because it's brainwashing. Religion is man-made.
Yes.
Spirituality just is. Your soul just is. The stars just are. The butterflies are. The people we connect with are. No one's telling me, a Jewish girl from the valley, to hang out with a guy who's black who could be my grandson. That I connect with you. You're a human being whose soul is totally opposite, lifestyle is totally opposite, but I get you, right?
Right.
So where does religion come in part of this? It doesn't. I'm not racist. I don't have the biases. There's a connection. When we talk Black Lives Matter, look what's happening with all the Jews in Israel, and the anti-Semitism is back. My mom's family, my grandmother, all 11 brothers and sisters and parents were killed in the camps. And there's like a recycling of that fear of anti-Semitism again. Okay. So we see culture, we see race, we see religion, and it's always Israel and the Palestinians, or the blacks and the Jews, or the Latinos, and now it's the Asians. Somebody's always picked on.
Yeah.
But Storm, I have a watch on my left wrist. If I took a knife and you took a knife, we both bleed red blood.
We do.
Right?
We do. It is what it is.
Religion and fanatics and right-wing thinkers versus left-wing. I don't go either way on the left or the right. There's things I don't like on both sides.
Right.
My voice isn't loud enough. Even though it were, I don't have power. You don't have any power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just teach people, make your own life your religion, because this is a warrior planet. Earth, astrologically, is a fighter. So, talk about astrology, the different signs within ourselves that make us compatible. We'll get to that in a moment, because I think your listeners will understand. But you can Google Los Angeles or Athens or Paris or Atlanta or Anchorage, and every place has an astrological attachment to the longitude and latitude, which a lot of times the diehard astrologers will say, you don't belong in LA, you belong in Anchorage because of your chart.
Okay.
Just like with a soulmate, where do you fit?
Makes
Girl
sense.
from Tampa, Florida, she's never been comfortable, can't get comfortable, keeps moving and moving and moving. I said, you don't belong in Tampa. It's all so detailed and complex, but there's so many ways to make it simple if you just learn to get in the flow.
Gotcha.
We can't change the wars. We can't see religion going away. What has changed is more people are becoming spiritual than going to church or believing in a certain religious dogma of brainwashing. When it comes to scripture or talking about God, faith, harmony, helping each other, that's one thing. But to say yes or no, you can't sleep with this, gay or straight is wrong. It used to be you couldn't eat fish on Fridays, or you only had to eat fish on Friday if you're a Catholic, and then another one wanted a divorce, so they started Lutheran or Protestant. I mean, everybody changed the rules to make it fit.
Yes.
Religion can brainwash, make you guilty, scared, fearful. And then I come along and try to diffuse all that, because spirituality is like the butterfly. It just is.
It just is. And then you're going to get a lot of pushback, because now what you're questioning everything I've been taught. You know what I mean? So it's I definitely get that.
When I became spiritual, it was totally against the Jewish upbringing. Totally. It was frightening. Like, well, I hadn't really been exposed to another opinion.
Yeah.
But when you start to grow and you realize mom and dad are great or they're not, and there's another opinion, or you can go to a different doctor, or there's a different dentist, or you don't have to wear blue all the time. It's okay to find you.
It is. It really is. And for some reason with me, like, I interview different people from all walks of life.
Yeah, you do.
And people are like, well, why are you talking to that person? Well, oh my God, you're the devil now. And I'm like, we're just having a conversation. Can we just, why?
That's
what is
the judgment and the fear of somebody's belief. Like, why am I friends with somebody who could be a grandson? Because I connect. It's the feeling, it's the soul, there's a past life, there's ideas that make sense that a lot of people don't understand.
True.
It doesn't matter your age or color or religion when there's a bond. So when you're spiritually connected, not religiously, because I was brought up, you're only going to marry a Jew. In high school, I found an Italian guy, and I put a steen at the end of his name. My parents knew, but I had to tell them, right? You're believing one thing, but you go in a different direction. It's if people like you and me could run the world, no, there wouldn't be the political, racist, wars, divisions, drive-by shootings. I told you about the 6-year-old kid that got killed on his first day, on his way to kindergarten, the first day of kindergarten.
Yeah, you told me that yesterday, yeah.
Some whacked out guy on meth shot into a drive-by car. Mother was driving her 6-year-old kid to his first day of kindergarten. Buried him. It's wacko. It's scary. Lockdown was scary. Isolation is scary. Is it the one world order? Is it the Illuminati? Is it population control? Are the vaccines really safe? And we could go on and on and on and on and on. And that's not what this show is about. We're going to go back to love, which is defined as life openly and vigorously expressed. LOVE, right? Yes. We're expressing ourselves. I lack love. Think about it. So someone's diabetic. What does the pancreas do? Overshoots
insulin, right?
Insulin, because they lack sweetness in their life.
Okay.
So you have to have more insulin to bring in the sugar. Heart attack. I have a client who's a cardiology professor at a medical school in Florida who comes to me for help. And she got stuck on a heart disease presentation for a second-year med students. I said, take it out of physiology, never mind the chambers and the ventricles and the arteries. Talk about the heart being the center of love, and let the students see they're dealing with love. So if someone had a heart attack or needs a replacement or a bypass, they hurt so much their heart stopped working properly because they didn't have enough love. Gotcha. She turned it all around. She sent me the whole proposal. It was brilliant.
Because sometimes you have to look at things from the spiritual side, not just what. Of course,
you put it all together, right?
Yeah, or even like if a wife dies and then a husband dies of a broken heart, all of that is a real thing.
It is. Sometimes you see spouses go within months of each other, weeks of each other, days of each other. Or my dad had to have this other woman. They're on 11 or 12 years now. My mom's gone 12 years, so he's been with this woman 11 years. But there was more karma. And I kept saying, you can't leave until I get married. He goes, well, just stay single. Because the longer I'm single, the longer he can live. So we joke about it. And now I'm going to call him Moses because he's 92. He keeps going. Moses was 120. But you joke and you keep it going, right?
Yes.
But everybody has a journey. Everybody has a path. Everybody has a destiny. And we have to find the flow without as many bumps or obstacles or going in the wrong relationship because you got to be married. No, not to the wrong person just because. Let it happen.
And even with me, what the lesson I've learned this week is to not make my life chaotic on purpose. It's like, you know what? My flow is working. I'm going to stay with my flow.
Yeah, don't upset the apple cart. And sometimes it's boring and sometimes it's quiet and we're used to the noise and the chaos and the juggling. Then it's peaceful. That's called serenity. Or when I tell someone to lighten up, they don't get it. And I say, well, let go of this or throw that away or discard this or don't go back. That's why it's called enlightenment. You're lightening the load. You're lightening up. And then, it's hard to teach the theory until they live it. We're all that way. But the more we feed, like when you're helping people with a business idea or a YouTube idea, they don't get most of what you're saying. It's too big. Until they buy the lamp and get the camera and get the feed and get the account and get their format. One person may want to talk about cars when really their passion should be books. Do you know what I mean? Yes.
I've literally had people sit there and say, okay, what's the best way to make money on YouTube? What should I talk about? And I'm like, no, what do you want to talk about?
They don't understand that, Storm.
They don't.
Just like, no, they need to have that guy. I really like this guy. I said, but he may not be interested in you. Or the other ones are like, well, there's this guy at work. How does he feel about me? I said, I'm not even sure he's aware of you. Right? So then I got to teach them how to maybe be flirtatious, change your clothes, kind of go by his desk, drop a hint. Is he involved? I mean, you can't just walk up and say, God, I can't stop obsessing on you. You're gorgeous.
Yeah.
I know you're my soulmate. It doesn't work that way.
Or maybe he's just not meant for you.
Hello. There's also, I can't always say that nicely. I will if I really know it, but they don't want to hear it.
I'm just saying. So speaking of what's for you and what's not for you, okay, we've all heard how astrology affects your compatibility when it comes to love, relationships, etc.
Plus the sun sign.
Plus the sun sign. Okay, so for somebody like me, my sun sign is a Taurus, my moon sign is a Cancer. How would I proceed to know, okay, this person will be compatible or this person will not?
Do you know your rising? That's based on the time of birth. Do you know your rising?
Oh, not off the top of my head.
Okay. Let me explain something to you as to why you and I are compatible, just knowing those two pieces. I'm an earth sign. You're an earth sign. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are earth.
Okay.
Water is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Fire is Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. And air is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra.
Okay.
Earth and water get along best, and air and fire get along best. That doesn't mean an air sign can't get along with an earth sign, but it depends on where the moon and the ascendant or the rising sign is. And what most people don't think about when you have a chart done. Now, I'm not an astrologer, but I've done enough over the years to understand it and seen enough charts. Your sun and my sun are compatible as earth signs.
Okay.
Your moon is water. My moon is Taurus. So your water and my Taurus are compatible, but my moon gets with your sun because we're both Taurus. So there's the compatibility there, right?
Gotcha.
Now, when you look at a chart and there's all these angles and points, I can get charts done for a very low price if people are interested. We can do there's the basic natal chart based on your birthday and where you're headed and what you're all about with your signs versus a 6-month projection and a 12-month projection as to what's going to happen versus the soulmate compatibility. So you take your birthday and birth chart with mine or hers or his, and you combine them and you see what you have in common, what you need to work on, or why it's not going to work.
Gotcha.
The Venus, the planet Venus, represents love. Mine's in Capricorn. So the kind of guy I need has to have either a water sign or an earth sign in his Venus for my love to come strong. So love is the Venus in me. I don't know what it is in you. I can get your chart done and we can find out. Then there's Mercury. Like right now it's Mercury retrograde. And whenever you hear Mercury retrograde, it's when the planet Mercury appears to be going in a reversed orbit, and everything that could go wrong technologically, communication-wise, breaking of garage doors, refrigerators, irons, something's going wrong. It's just a wacky time every 3.5 months. Mercury's communication. I have Capricorn in Mercury. So that's the third Capricorn. I'm very grounded, tough, strong, cappy, loyal, but you can't mess with me because of all this Capricorn. And people think I'm cold, but I'm really not. It's just what my planets are. My sexuality is Mars and Scorpio. Mars is the sex sign. I happen to have it in Scorpio, so I have a presence. I walk in a room, people always look. I used to think there was something wrong with me, but I've learned it's the sexual presence. And the guy I see is a Scorpio. So that his Scorpio with my Mars and Scorpio with my sun sign being Earth and he being water, it all starts to connect.
Gotcha.
It'd be interesting to see where you're, and then there's other planets, but I don't pay attention to the Uranus and the Jupiter and the positions there because most of us are pretty generic. But the main soulmate or soul connection, you need Sun, Moon, Ascending, Venus, Mercury, and Mars. Those are your primary planets and elements that are going to help you define a more compatible relationship, whether it's a teacher-student, if they're friends, if you're lovers, if you're going to be married, if you're going to journey around the world with somebody, the compatibility is different. And I think we talked once where there's 3 levels of soulmates. One's compatible where you don't have sex, but you've got projects and passions and friendship forever or for however long it lasts. Then you've got the karmic, usually with sex and kids and all that. Or then you got the twin, which is the other half of you that splits sometime on your other life, that at whatever moment it's destined to re-enter, you connect. And that part of you that's searching no longer searches.
Wow.
Yeah, you know. The other half of you is like a puzzle piece. It fits in. You know.
So it's way deeper than what people say online. Yes. People are just like, oh, you're a Taurus. I know you're hard-headed. So yeah, it's way deeper than trivial things
that's
like that.
Part of it. It starts out with the sun sign. What sign are you? What sign are you? It's conversation, but to really understand it, I personally am not an astrologer. It's very mathematical. It's very scientific. Yesterday we had the solar eclipse, which affected a lot of people, and then we've had the Mercury retrograde, and I mean, there's so many elements that change behavior, moods, interests.
I've been sleeping a lot. Like I've been sleeping.
It drains. Yeah. Oh yeah. But when you're looking for your true soulmate, at some point send me your birthday, city and state, and time if you know it.
Yeah,
and I'll ask my friend to run the chart.
Okay.
And we'll take a look at what type of person is best for you to give you it's more like a microscope, a little more information on data as to where it's going to hit and it may not hit, or where the conflicts might be because you've got this and she's got that, but you want this and she wants that. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And people struggle for years trying to make it work. And sometimes the square peg doesn't fit a round hole.
It just doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. I hear you. Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, we can definitely do that because I know all that stuff. Like, yeah, we can definitely do
But
that.
TikTok is not the source. People think
No.
TikTok is, I don't know. I've started doing the candles on TikTok, but I may go away. As you know, I'm rebooting my old shows from 20 years ago. I'll be streaming online, and then I'll probably do a YouTube. But I mean, I've been around 30 years. I'm not new. It's just I'm reintroducing. But a lot of people, it's all new.
Yes.
And they don't have the reputation or the knowledge. But this one girl that called me or texted me on Instagram said all the readings were the same from these different people. Well, they were all reading from the same book. They don't know how to read the cards. But everybody's excited because they're getting a reading. Well, there's tons of psychics, supposedly, but there aren't very many real ones. And then you confuse intuition with psychic abilities. And I have to say, no, we're all intuitive, but we're not all psychic.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay? Oh, I'm a psychic. I get all these feelings. I said, no. Clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient is not the same as being intuitive.
Yeah,
it's a whole different frequency.
Yes, and a lot of people just they just want to make money, and they're I mean I've seen YouTube videos where people try to they've done them on me like tarot card readings, and they're like, he's so jealous and he's so heartbroken, and I'm like, I'm pretty freaking happy over here. You might want to go check your cards again and reshuffle.
Yeah, because jealousy comes up with the swords, just so that people know how to read a tarot deck. Just so they know. Hearts represents love and emotion. Pentacles represents money, prosperity, wealth, or debt. The swords represent obstacles, blocks, issues, conflicts. And then the spades are going to be the new beginnings, openings, path. So there's 52 cards, I think, or 72 cards in a tarot deck. That you've got the pictures, which are like the page, knights, kings and queens and aces. Then you've got the 1 through 10 of the spades or the hearts or the swords and the cups. Everything is so aligned. The average person cannot read tarot cards without learning or studying. In one book that has a minuscule paragraph is not the same as knowing the flow of the spread. I started with what's called the Celtic cross. A lot of people don't know this, but the average tarot layout is a cross of 10 cards. And how it starts is you got your past.
Okay.
Then you got the past on the left, and then you do 3 up. So it's where you are now, where you're really thinking and feeling, what's in your inner thoughts. Over here is your near future. This is what might be. This is the environment. This is what's blocking you, and this is your outcome. People don't understand the order of meaning as to why there's a cross. And then the way I develop my own theory, I guess, I would go maybe 15 more cards into the future because I can read time. A lot of people can't read timing of events. I say August, September, October, this is going to happen. Then you'll say, oh, we're doing blah, 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 blah. So I feel the pocket of time. Most people can't do that. They assume,
yeah. Just like when you told me, oh, I think you're going to get married like in your late 30s or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, and people don't want to hear that. I have to wait that long? Well, you're going to live that long anyway. You just don't know what the timing is. But right now, I don't see you now getting married. If just so people know, if I gave the reading, which I've done, if you were to settle down now, you would ruin this journey you're on. Yeah. You wouldn't get to where you're supposed to go. When you hit the pinnacle, she'll show up.
And I feel like I feel like a lot of people see that I'm on the road. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm going places.
No, but you're fine.
But a lot of people try to like hook their claws in you to distract you off of your path. And it's like, no, I know where I'm going. Just stay back.
A lot of it's jealousy. A lot of it's your friends don't want to be left behind. They're afraid you're going to become so big you won't care. People forget you just at the end of the day, you're in bed watching a TV show, or you're just editing something, or you're flipping through Instagram. You're not like out partying your life away. Once in a while you let go, of course, but it's like how many girls are throwing cookies and candy and underwear your way. Just like when I was on the radio, I got flowers and candy and phone calls. Oh my God, will you marry me? I said, you just know my voice. You don't know me.
You don't know me. You don't. I tell them that all the time.
You don't know me.
You like the image. You might like what you see. You might like my voice. A lot of women, they'll go to sleep listening to me. So
me too. I was on 9 to 11 every night, so I would put people to bed to sleep. So
you get that we have a connection there, but you don't know me as a person.
Right. How you feel, or you show like they don't realize how hard you work 6 days a week at the gym.
They don't. That is true.
I have a stationary bike sitting in the living room. I haven't been on it in a week and a half. You go 6 days a week. I haven't. Motivated. Big difference.
They don't see I've been through therapy, spiritual work, and I have a life coach, personal trainer. They don't see a psychic. They don't see all the work that I put in. I worked 2 years straight to take a month off. Like, they don't see the work. They don't see the work, but it's okay though. It's okay.
No, they just want to flip on YouTube and say, "Here's my show."
Yep.
No.
Last question. Okay. For everyone that is dealing with mental health issues, could be depression, schizophrenia,
anxiety,
bipolar. Is this a spiritual issue, or is it chemical, or is it a mixture of both?
A mixture of both. Let me tell you my opinion, because I'm sober. I mean, I haven't smoked dope or had a drink in almost 36 years. But when I was younger, I did a lot of self-medicating and partying and everything. I wouldn't touch pot today for the life of me for the amount of THC that they're legalizing. A friend of mine's roommate had a psychotic break smoking dope about 3 weeks ago because it's so strong. There is bipolar, there is biochemical imbalance, there is a lack of norepinephrine or serotonin or dopamine in our bodies, yes. Part of it's biochemical, part of it's hereditary, part of it is we inherit the alcoholic gene, for lack of a better term, and a lot of people don't understand that the term alcoholism can include any form of addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, food, shopping, money, sex, whatever. When you're fixed and obsessive and you can't get enough and you keep repeating. So it's not just, oh, he's not an alcoholic. No, I'll pick it up in a reading. He drinks. Yeah, he drinks, but he's not an alcoholic. I said, no, he is. You can be an alcoholic on one drink or a fifth of the bottle. It depends how your brain chemistry responds to the substance that will change the personality to maybe happy, glad, or sad, or aggressive versus belligerent versus peaceful. A social lubricant where it's more comfortable to socialize in a big crowd where your inhibitions are down because you're loaded. Versus a girl will call, well, I don't know what's wrong with him. I said, well, he's drinking a lot. No, he's not. He just has a beer or two at night. I said, really? How often? Oh, every night. Well, why does he need to drink every night? Well, because he had a hard day at work. No, because he's addicted to having no feelings, so he doesn't have to deal with everything at home. What do you mean? So the next layer comes, and the next layer. Then all of a sudden they understand, oh, maybe that's a problem. But people think problematic drinkers on the Skid Row level.
Right.
No.
It's very extreme.
That's the thought of what we think. Yes, that's the extreme, and they bottomed out. You got drug addicts at the hospitals. You got drug addict doctors who are taking their own medication out of the cabinets. You got drinkers. You got people shooting up. You got everything everywhere because we don't want to feel pain, right? When you learn spiritually to deal with the feeling, and you don't need to grab, I've always been the eater, so it'd be the sugar or a carb or processed foods when I was younger. Now my diet excludes dairy, flour, sugar. I haven't had flour and sugar products since 2013. Okay, so it balanced out my moods because I realized the insulin was being hit from the sugar, and my moods were more moody But once I got the food handle, I didn't need the antidepressant because I understood the balance was coming from insulin versus what we thought was depression. I had depression, yes, from the plane crash and 3 suicides in my family or my mom dying. I mean, yeah, it's normal. You feel horrible.
Yeah.
But I don't need help like that anymore. And I've worked on myself to not. People who smoke do not know that not only can you be addicted to the nicotine, but the filters are cured in sugar.
Oh, I did not know that.
So you're smoking and getting addicted to sugar besides the nicotine. So when a person quits smoking and they're eating, whether it's the pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chocolate, people gain 50 pounds. Oh, your metabolism changed. That's true. The metabolism is sped up with the smoking because I was thin when I smoked. Then my metabolism changed, but I'd rather not smoke. But no one told me until, I don't know, several years ago, they cured the filters in sugar. So while you're withdrawing from nicotine, you're also dealing with a sugar addiction, but you don't know it.
So then you go right to food after.
Right, but the average person isn't taught that. So there's all these different ways. Now, those of your people who smoke, my pulmonary specialist, my mom died of lung cancer, but not from smoking, even though she had smoked 30 years prior. My aunt died of lung cancer from the smoking cell. There's different cells. My doctor said after 18 years of not smoking pot or cigarettes, tobacco, your lungs will heal as if you've never smoked. And now I'm on to 21 years. So my lungs are strong, especially during COVID. Thank God. I haven't been sick.
Right.
But I'm strong because I take care of myself now. When I was young, I partied like everybody. Then one day you go, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
This is the only body we have. Going back to the beginning of the show, what's the soul? The body is the temple to the soul. The more self-destruction with drugs, alcohol, sleeping around, quick sex, depression, all this junk out there, we're hurting the temple.
Yeah. And we deal with the repercussions.
Absolutely. When you're hungover or the one-night stand or the broken heart, of course, it's life. I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm not judging. It's just you have a choice if you want to be depressed in the dark, not on path, not focused, or learn to know who you are, where you come from, deal with your family inheritance. Genetics plays a big part. My mom's dad, uncle, and brother all committed suicide. So we have the depressive gene in my family, and I inherited it. But I'm here. I didn't commit suicide. And yes, suicide victims do go to the light. They don't go to purgatory. That's a whole other show.
Yeah, because a lot of people were taught, you know, hey, if they committed suicide, they're burning in hell.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true at all. But it's all part of the soul. It's all part of the growth. It's all part of the temple. It's all part of food. And a lot of people can't understand that food affects moods. Sugar is a drug. Cornflakes, pasta, bread, cookies metabolizes in the blood as sugar.
Yep.
I'm at the point of so clean that if I eat tortilla chips at a Mexican restaurant, in 4 days I'm having an attack from the insulin because it metabolizes as a sugar. The corn has sugar, and it's almost like I had a sugar attack because I'm so cleaned out now. So I don't eat corn chips now. It's like, oh my God, what's left?
I know I get hit from the salt, so I'm salt sensitive. As soon as I go to a place like that, I know right away.
It's sugar, flour, carbs rather, or the salt, and then so you got the sweet, the sour, the crunchy. And if you think about yogurt, ice cream, pudding, jello, it's soothing. I just want to feel good. Celery, carrots, chips. It's the anger. You want to get rid of the anger and anxiety. So pumpkin seeds, almonds, something crunchy. It's the anxiety. So we use the food to change how we feel.
We do.
It's all the same, whatever it is. If it's drugs, alcohol, food, you get the high on gambling, you get the low from losing. It's all the same stuff.
I just think that in life, and I guess we can leave it here. I just think that in life, people are searching for answers, and I think we all have to go on our own journey.
Right.
Like whatever religion you were born into, this, that, whatever, you have to find what works for you.
And that's why I say God's as simple as a butterfly. You just
complicate them. We complicate them.
Yes, we do. Humans complicate everything. The metaphysics, the simplicity, the flow. It's right there. We have to figure it out, control it, manipulate it, say, no, that's my guy. This is my husband. This is my job. I have to be pregnant. Don't have to be anything. And I said, well, that's your will, but God may have a different plan. Okay. Yes. Or just because you like him or she likes you doesn't mean she likes you back or is available or wants you or is even attracted to you or even notices you. Like I said, at work, that girl, I said, does he even know you're there? Well, he's in another department. I said, does he know you? Has he seen you? You may have zoomed in on him. He has no clue you're thinking about him.
Exactly.
So go make yourself present, trip over a cable or, say hello.
So Dr. Linda, let the people know where they can actually go and find you or contact you for help as well.
They can call toll free at 888-509-1077 or visit my website at lindasalvin.com. Twitter is Psychic Dr. Linda. Facebook is Linda Salvin. And Instagram is Dr. Linda PhD. So it's all there.
It's all there. Her links are in my description box as well.
Yeah.
We played the commercial, and guys, that is the number, like the commercial says it. Yeah.
The candles work. Their healings are real. The work is real. It's just that a lot of people don't realize I'm not a fairy tale TikTok reader. I'm real.
Right.
It's Storm Show. Ay, it's Storm Show.